By running away from the darkness, you're actually running away from experiencing more love. Now, what does this mean? This means that the parts of us that we are afraid to look at, the parts of us that we don't want to see, the parts of us that we're fearful to go deeper into, is the very thing that's stopping you from experiencing the love and the joy and the bliss that you want in your life. Because the truth is that discomfort is going to arise in your life. And the question is, are you going to surrender and allow the love to flow into your heart and who you truly are? Or are you going to resist that and stay in the dark? So in this video, what we're going to be talking about is how to surrender into discomfort and experience more love as a result of feeling into that discomfort with no resistance. How to transmute all the negative energy and literally bring it to light to such a high level that you experience more love in your life and you develop a deeper connection to your true nature and who you truly are, quote unquote. And we're going to get into what that all means in just a little bit. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. So the first thing I want you to understand is that discomfort in your life, not being comfortable, being in the darkness consciously, being in that discomfort is actually where you can find more love. Because actually, the discomfort that happens in our life is not the thing that's stopping us from feeling how we want to feel. It's the resistance to that discomfort. Meditation is a great way to teach you this because actually what I realized more recently, and this is actually the insight that I had when I started my spiritual journey, but somewhere along the path, I at moments forgot this truth and I'm realizing it again, is that actually when we can surrender into the discomfort, that is where more peace is available to you in your life. What is meditation? Essentially, all meditation and yoga really is you're putting yourself intentionally into a slightly uncomfortable space and you're surrendering into that. So actually, when it comes to learning to how to connect to who you truly are and connect to your higher self, how you feel in that moment doesn't matter, in the sense that if you don't feel like meditating and you don't feel like accepting, that's probably where you need to look at and feel into. The thing that you're scared to look at is the thing that you can find more peace in your life if you look at it. So actually, the most powerful awakening experiences that I've ever had, the highest levels of transformation that I've ever experienced in my life was not in my comfort zone, was in the discomfort zone. Now, if you go too far, you can integrate too much shadow at once. Is just way too much. So I'm not saying to go out of your way and be so uncomfortable that you're in misery, because you're not going to have the capacity and the consciousness to accept it. You want to put yourself in the discomfort perfectly enough where you can be in that acceptance. Because to accept the discomfort is where you find more love. Understand that the more that you resist discomfort in your life, the slower you're integrating your humanness into the love that you truly are. So understand that don't be afraid of discomfort. I invite you to invite more discomfort in your life, consciously. You don't want to do meditation today? Doesn't matter. Go feel and give love to your emotions anyways. I promise most of the times you will feel better after, because actually what you're doing is you're nurturing the darkness. You're shining light on the darkness. The things that people don't want to look at in my coaching sessions, for example, and this happens all the time, is the thing that they need to see to get to the next level of evolution in their life. The thing that you don't want to hear from a coach is the thing that you need to integrate. The things that you don't want to hear in these videos sometimes is the very thing that's stopping a lot of people from stepping into their power. So actually, to embrace discomfort is what will allow you to find the highest levels of peace and joy and love. Embrace the discomfort in your life. Find acceptance in the discomfort. Understand that if you don't feel like doing something, if you don't feel like feeling your emotions, actually you're blocking yourself from feeling more love. And so the second thing I want you to understand is that if you feel any discomfort in your life, I invite you to shine your consciousness on it and allow it. And I want you to understand that the last couple months I've been in a space where I've been preaching to only follow what feels good. And I'm realizing that there's a limitation to that. There's a shadow to that. I was unwilling to look at a shadow within myself because actually by only trusting what feels good, I'm dishonoring the discomfort and the darkness that needs to arise to get to the higher levels in my life, to get to the next level of transformation. This is how we learn. This is how we grow as humans. I'm not saying that you don't want to feel good in your life at all times. I invite you to do what feels good and to always trust your intuition. But actually, the paradox is that to feel good is to accept not feeling good. The way that you get to a higher vibrational state of consciousness is not by following what feels good, but by accepting what doesn't feel good and then understanding that you can transmute what doesn't feel good into feeling good, and that's deep shadow work. That is what I believe we came here to do. I don't believe that I came here to be in my comfort zone. I believe that I came here to transmute any darkness into light by shining that light of consciousness on it. So if you feel any discomfort in your life, what would happen if you just allowed it to be there? Just be okay with the fact that you feel uncomfortable right now. Be okay with the fact that you feel that darkness coming up to the surface. Fully embrace it. Fully allow that darkness to come up to your energy field. Transmute it into the light. Because the more that you can transmute that energy into consciousness and bring it to your awareness, you'll start to notice that there's so much peace. Peace that transcends pleasure or pain. Pleasure is great, but actually what you'll find is that your comfort zone and following only your comfort zone gets boring and becomes unfulfilling, because actually, what would you do if you had no fear? If you had no fear, would you stay in your comfort zone? If you had no fear, would you stay in only what feels good at all times? Always, only feel what feels good. Would you actually be living in true alignment with love, or would you be acting out of fear? So it's such a paradox, because actually what I'm teaching you and teaching myself is to honor our intuition and honor what feels good. But sometimes to get to that place of feeling good is to accept that we don't feel good. In the moment that you can do that, you'll find that you might have an awakening to the fact that, oh my gosh, the thing that's stopping me from feeling good is the resistance to the discomfort, not the discomfort. So actually what I've been doing is, when I don't feel good in a meditation, usually I would just back off and be like, yep, it's time to stop meditating now. But there's a limitation there, because why am I afraid to feel into a slight discomfort? When I can sit there and be in that discomfort, actually you get to those higher levels of love. Like sometimes I'll listen to binaural beats in my meditations, right? And sometimes I don't necessarily like the binaural beat. I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel so good. I don't like something about it is throwing me off. And I was like, oh my gosh, actually beautiful. I need to sit with that. What I believe binaural beats do and these higher frequency sounds do in meditation is they're a tool to bring up darkness within you. So if you're hearing a binaural beat and you're like, that's kind of like, it sounds kind of spooky and scary. Like sometimes it sounds good. Sometimes emotions come up. Yeah. That's exactly what the binaural beats are meant to do. They're meant to bring up the darkness so you can sit there and be with it 100%. That's what the binaural beats are doing. This is what a gong is doing if you're meditating in a temple. Why do you think deep advanced meditators and yogis meditate in ridiculous conditions and cold weather because they are training themselves to hold that frequency of unconditional gratitude despite the adversity that comes your way. And when you can train yourself to be in that space of acceptance, you're actually doing inner work. And so when life throws a challenge at you, guess what happens? You've done the inner work. You've trained yourself. You've prepared yourself, and you've built up your mindfulness and your consciousness to accept the inevitable that will come your way. And the third thing I want you to understand is that I want you to be willing to go into discomfort and shine the light on that. I always invite you to follow your intuition, but I want you to start to be open to the idea of, hey, if this doesn't feel so good, what are you running away from? Because transformation can get ugly sometimes. It can get deep. It can get scary. And you want to ask yourself the question, what would you do if you had no fear? If you were fearless, would you run away from that feeling? Or would you look at that darkness right in the eyes and deeply stare into it with your consciousness? How would you handle that situation if you were fearless? You wouldn't run away. You would go into it. And if you had enough courage to willingly and consciously step into the darkness, you will find more love there, if you can accept it. And this is the insights, the downloads that I've been getting recently. Comment down below if you've experienced an adversity in your life and that adversity brought you to more peace. And let me ask you this, has there ever been a moment in your life where you found peace and comfort? Maybe, but actually true peace was in the discomfort. Look back at any moment in your life where you found true peace and bliss, any glimpses of peace. It was in some sort of adversity or discomfort. Not always, but it can open that. Most of the times, the most powerful awakenings I've ever had is when I willingly stepped into the fear and I integrated that part of my shadow. That's where the true growth really happened. So be willing to go into the dark. Go into the darkness. You don't have to do this if you're not ready. If you're not ready to face something, then you don't have to. That's the good news with shadow work and getting to higher levels of love and understanding who you truly are. If you want to stay in your comfort zone, that's cool. Nobody's forcing you. I'm not forcing you. I'm not saying you have to. But what I am saying though is that the last 5 months of my life, I didn't realize that I was running away from some part of my shadow, from some part of myself that I didn't want to see. I was afraid to feel into the darkness, to add more discomfort in my life, whether in my meditations or relationships or whatever it is. Because when you can integrate the shadow that you're scared to look at, yes, you will find more light there. You want to bring the light to the darkness. And the final words I want to leave you with in this video is, of course, be willing to go into the dark if you feel ready. Maybe you're not ready, but be willing to go there anyways. Yeah, maybe it's scary. Maybe it doesn't feel so good to go there, but are you willing to go into it anyways to test it and see what happens? Test it. Don't take my word for this. I know that what I'm saying goes completely against, like, Francis, that doesn't feel good. Test it, and see what happens in your life. And the last final words I want to share with you that I realized recently is that to run, I said this before, but I want to say it again to outline the importance of this statement. If you're running away from darkness, you're running away from higher levels of love. That's what I want you to understand. If you're unwilling to face something, you're resisting something. True love and who you truly are doesn't resist, doesn't judge, doesn't fight, doesn't discriminate. Who you are accepts everything and everyone and can fully give it compassion and love and transmute that darkness literally into love and light. But it's not love and light and beauty. It can get ugly. It can get ugly, but if you can accept the ugliness, the density of being a human, you'll start to feel that love. And that's why I believe we came here. I believe we came here to bring light to the dark, and accept the denseness of life. And that's why I believe we came here. And so remember that if you're willing to step into the darkness, be open that that's where the light is. And that's where the love that you truly want actually is. So that's all I have for this video. Comment down below if any of this resonated with you, and if you've ever had an awakening experience where you fell into discomfort, allowed it to be there, and actually that's where the growth really happened in your life, and that's where you found the love. Comment down below if you've personally experienced this in your life. So that's all I have for this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for free consultation. And as always, have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.